A letter from the heart. I'm writing this because I'm a writer by nature. And while you're welcome to watch this video, I believe you'll get more from this if you just take a moment to listen. What I'm about to share feels a little out of character for me. Not because it isn't true, but because it's honest in a quieter, less polished way than what I've shared in the past. As some of you know, I stopped offering my spiritual services around the summer solstice. From the outside, it may have looked like a sabbatical or a pause, but for me, it was something deeper. I was burnt out. My body was telling the truth before my mind could even catch up. For over 2 decades, I've poured myself fully into readings, energy work, teaching, guidance, and holding space for others. I've always given 150%. That's just simply who I am. But over time, the level of giving stopped feeling sustainable, and eventually it stopped feeling joyful. I went back to creating, not as a business plan, but as a way to regulate my nervous system, to process emotion, grief, and remember myself. Making things with my hands became a form of soul therapy during a season of deep personal and physical transition. Many people told me, "You'll be back. This is just a break." And maybe part of me believed that too. To be honest, I thought by now I would have been. But the truth is, I no longer desire to return to that way, to the way things were. I've learned that spiritual practitioners are often expected to be endlessly available, endlessly giving, endlessly resilient. But we are human and we hurt. We question, we change. And sometimes the world forgets that amongst the noise, and you begin to feel a bit alone. Kind of like on your own little island. This isn't the first time that I felt this way or witnessed this collectively. After 9/11, I felt a similar calling, not to perform spiritually, but to bring comfort, creativity, and humanity into a fractured world. That was actually when fairy dustings was born. Botanical products made with a touch of whimsy, rooted in nature and imagination. Crafted to offer small moments of joy during difficult times. That surely did bring me and many others joy. Even amidst the chaos and uncertainty at that time, it was the little light and hope that others needed. That part of me never really went away. I've always felt the need to bring more light into places where it was dark. But what has changed now is my understanding of how I am meant to serve. I now know that I was never meant to run a business in the traditional sense. I've always functioned like a nonprofit without the structure, like a minister without a congregation. I gave more than I received, not because I didn't value myself, but because my heart didn't know any other way. No matter how hard I tried to make a profit or income to sustain me and my practice, it just always felt icky and wrong. I am by no means and never have been a salesperson and probably never will be. Again, this is not to point fingers or make anyone feel bad. It's just something I have come to realize about myself, how I am wired, and that it just no longer sustains me or my energy, especially during this time. My health is asking me for something different now. I'm closing a chapter, not on my gifts, but on the way I've been using them. What's opening instead is a return to the tactile, the creative, the playful, and the grounded. I look back and recall many times in the beginning of my journey after a 9-to-5 job. This is where I work with most of you, one-on-one, in community college settings, cafes, and other places where we would just sit and create works of art together. Things that you imagined with me and that we could hold in our hands. Close our eyes and think to the future. So now this communal arts, music, and maker space, rooted in presence rather than performance, is being looked at once again. A place where joy is made with our hands and heart once again, not extracted from our bodies. A place where creativity, music, art, and play become pathways back to ourselves. Some of the things I've created along the way are still meaningful to many. My oracle cards, the accompanying training videos that go along with it. Whether you have the cards or not, they always hold very important and true daily teachings and help. They were created in a season where I needed to use my spiritual gifts in a way that would be understood and able to bring joy, insight, and healing. Even when I was not able to be present or right there with you. I still do have a few more decks on hand, and I love seeing them find their way into the hands of people who resonate with them still to this day. I've also been quietly busy in my own personal maker space, painting for myself, but also creating small handcrafted items made with care, intention, enchanted gifts, whimsical pieces, sacred objects, and nature-based items that seem to delight all ages. I am reminded of how much I loved creating those Nature's Journey subscription boxes years ago. I love how these all have become ways people can engage with and support my works of art, while also receiving something tangible and nourishing in return. This season has also brought a very financial reckoning for me. When I stopped offering services, my income stopped too. With my birthday in just one more day and Christmas around the corner, I'm feeling the squeeze many of us feel this time of year. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but for transparency. The Heart Center continues to run on donations for heat, electric, repairs, such as when we tore up the rug, painting that needs to be done outdoors, supplies to make this a warm, cozy, welcoming space, and now the gradual evolution of a creative community space. If you have ever felt supported by me, inspired by my work, or simply want to help keep this space alive, your support in whatever form feels right is deeply appreciated during this season and time of giving. Mostly, I want you to know this: I'm still here. I'm still creating. I'm just doing it in a way that honors my body, my spirit, and the season I am in. Maybe many of you are feeling the same way as me. Maybe you don't know how to navigate it or put it into words. Maybe this message might help. We live in a world where our voices get drowned out by the loudest. The still, the soft, the gentle way of being becomes harder and harder to accept. But I am finding that with age, this is who I am, and perhaps who I have always been. I have always related to the bee, the idea of the bee going out, tending to the flowers, getting its nectar, and then coming back to its home to nourish, to get back the energy, to go back out again. That very much feels how I am wired. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for being part of my life in whatever way you have for all these years. I have been sitting on this message and this way of bringing this truth to you for a long time. And so I want to thank you for allowing me the grace to change and allowing me the grace to do this. With love, always.